Hi. Alright, I won't do an intro like that ever again. Welcome back to Hexbots, Hexbug Battlebots Series 4, Heat F. Last time, it was Endgame and Metal King advancing to the tournament, and Assassin going to the third place Desperado tournament, leaving Warbird Max and the pointless Demo Derby out of here. Well, next up in Heat F, we call it A Tale of Two Gators. Why? Well, because we'll show you later. But, actually, we'll show you right now. Here's the lineup for today's Heat. First, from Tokyo, Japan, Shadow. The ultimate life form is back at it in the arena once more. Shadow continues to reign with their lifter and reign supreme over everyone. However, major weakness, it despises Radical Highway. From Brisbane, Australia, Death Roll. The Aussie Croc is back at it again with a brand new design and vertical disc spinner. It still practically remains the same Death Roll we're all used to. It's got decent in its performances, however, big weakness, it's kind of showing its age. From Prague, Czech Republic, Monster. The veteran pusher from the Czech Republic, who we all adore and love, back at it again with a brand new look in Monster. They have a brand new teal-looking plow that is reminiscent of a building. However, big weakness, it kind of struggles to make the bracket. Let's see if they can this year. From Manchester, UK, Agraaba. I still don't know how Agraaba is still in the series, even though he's been flopping ever since he first debuted in the series. Well, Agraaba is still here from David of Smeg. Yeah, there's not much to talk about this robot at all. And from Everglades, Florida, Tailgator. Rounding out today's Heat is Tailgator. He is probably the fastest robot we have today. Is its drum really effective? I don't really know. That's why we're having an entire Heat battle. Yeah, it's got a decent bite. However, Death Roll is better in practically every single way. Bite me. Definitely an interesting lineup for this Heat. As we kick things off, we have the Ultimate Life Form versus the Deadly Croc of the Marshlands. I don't really know. In the blue square, Shadow, and the red square is Death Roll. Both of these robots have looked pretty good so far in their past seasons. Let's see if they can make something good from here. I don't know what I'm saying, so let's just get on with it. 3, 2, 1, activate. Let the bot battle begin. Shadow gets underneath of Death Roll and tries to flip it over, and Shadow gets flipped over immediately. That is not a good sign by Shadow, and I don't think he's going to get back up at all. Well, sorry to say for Shadow, the year of Shadow is just completely done at this point. It's 2026. Death Roll. Well, I guess they came back stronger than ever this year. Definitely a worthy champion right here in Death Roll. Well, I guess it turns out Shadow could be defeated. I was kind of expecting Shadow to just completely lift Death Roll, and that'll be the end of the fight, like its fight against Chaotic Doom twice, but at least we're starting to see some good out of Death Roll's new design as they gain 3 points and Shadow with nothing. Wow. Anyways, next up, the Battle of the Pushers-ish with Monster in the blue and Agraaba in the red. Don't be surprised if this is a highlighted fight or if it just goes with the full judge's decision. We apologize. 3, 2, 1... Let the bot battle begin. You're probably going to want to skim away from this fight, but please don't. Okay, I'm trying to get money here. Anyways, we got Monster versus Agraaba. Agraaba hammering the top of Monster to do literally no effect. I mean, to be fair, we just shoved in Agraaba because he exists as a champion because he won the New Blood tournament last year against Komodo Dragon. To be honest, I think Komodo should have just won that, because Agraaba basically died by a one-shot against Hypershock. As Monster getting hammered in the face by Agraaba as it's being shunted into the side wall. As Monster tries to come in with a nice hit, but a nice, well, I guess near miss by Agraaba. And the Pulverizer completely misses Agraaba, but is now getting into the front of Agraaba, maybe trying to take the hammer off with it. Although it doesn't look like it. Thank goodness, so I don't want to spend more of my budget on this arena again. As Monster is trying to back away, Agraaba gets stuck near the screws and out of the arena zone. Monster's doing a nice job of pushing around Agraaba. as Agraaba is trying to land some nice hits onto the front of Monster. However, it's not really doing anything. Is Monster getting old, tired, and out for this series? I would hope not, because they're the great veterans, and in comes Monster pushing up Agraaba into the screws. Now, finally, the screws are coming into effect right now, and it's so far is looking to be a field day with Monster with them. And when you get stuck with the claws of Monster, there is no escape whatsoever from that terrifying veteran in Monster, as Agraaba doesn't seem to be getting off of the screws. So either it looks like Agraaba is stuck, but he's trying to get free off of the screws, but Monster is right there, right back at him. It's either going to go in two ways. Agraaba survives, or he gets out of the arena thanks to Monster and the screws. And it looks like Agraaba's still stuck between a rock and a hard place. Monster letting him go, and Agraaba escapes and continues to hammer the face of Monster. At least I think that's the face. It's rather 2D, I can't really think of it. Monster fully gets underneath of Agraaba and is stuck in the screws! Agraaba is stuck in the screws, and Monster are going to get 3 points. Wow. Not really the smoothest win, but hey, it was at least something for Monster this season, as they get 3 points on the leaderboard, and Agraaba not really doing so hot right now. They're down with 0 points with Shadow. Anyways, Deathroll comes back in the ring again as they face Tailgator. I guess this is where the title card of this comes in. A Tale of Two Gators. Except Deathroll's a crocodile, so I don't know. Who the hell is here to blame? 3, 2, 1... Let the battle begin. The Tale of Two Gators is underway. Deathroll versus Tailgator. I think Deathroll just immediately lost its metal tooth. Immediately, look at the speed on Tailgator. That thing is fast. That's the... I'm sorry I had to make that joke. I had to. That snail is fast. Except it's not a snail, it's a gator. And he's going at Mach 10 right now against Deathroll right now. As both are exchanging hits, Tailgator so far has the pushing advantage so far against Deathroll, but who's got the stronger weapon? So far from that tooth falling off, I think it might be Tailgator. Although I don't know. Tailgator trying to put Deathroll into the screws and trying desperately to end this fight quick. Well, that will be something to see from the rookies this year. They only had, what, like 2 fights, I think? They won against Demilitarized Zone and lost against Carolina Reaper. So all to play for so far from Tailgator. They actually had their wedges moved up because it was scraping the ground too much. So maybe that's why. As Tailgator wrangling around, getting to the front of Deathroll and pushing up into the screws. But Deathroll still managing to get through. Can Tailgator prove something else? He does! He gets Deathroll into the screws. Can he topple the Titan over? No, he can't. Deathroll gets back in. What a move by Tailgator. Trying to upend Deathroll into the screws and shoving him toward that out of the arena zone and completely misses again. That speed on Tailgator is just unreal. It's almost as fast as ones like Roguebot or Hypershock. Hell, I think Hypershock is the fastest, if not Quicksilver 2. From a few seasons ago, I can't wait to see Hypershock later this year. As Tailgator and Deathroll exchanging hits, Deathroll gets popped up by Tailgator's front wedges and that drum on it. Tailgator trying to push back Deathroll toward the screws. It does, but Deathroll still clinging on to life as we speak, as Tailgator's having a bit of some weapon issues. I don't know if they'll have those resolved. Oh, and I just realized! The belt has come off of Tailgator! Tailgator's belt has come off! Well, it looks like Deathroll, now they're going to have the easy weapon advantage in so far effectiveness and damage, because Tailgator doesn't have an active weapon. This is a really good back and forth fight between Deathroll and Tailgator. Deathroll knocks off the belt, and Tailgator just being relentless in the arena, although we're going to a judge's decision. This is really close. Ladies and gentlemen, we have entered a judge's decision. we have a split decision. Judge 1 scored the battle for Death Roll. Judge 2 scored the battle for Tailgator. And Judge 3 scored the battle for the winner, Tailgator. Guess we now know who wins in this Tale of Two Gators. As even though Tailgator did get 2 points, Death Roll is still ahead with 4 points, and Monster right behind. Speaking of which, Monster kickstarts in the red square against the so far 0-pointer Shadow. So let's see who takes the top here. 3, 2, 1, active. Let the bot battle begin. Shadow and Monster, 2 veterans that were here from the start. Monster with a brand new upgrade, and Shadow desperate to get points on the leaderboard. As Shadow, I feel like they really need that weight that they had through the past few seasons. I think that's what it led them to winning the whole thing, because so far, they are not doing really good. But so far, they're lifting up Monster with that front plow and that wedge on of Shadow, as Monster is, so far, he's trying to get the low ground, and he does. And Shadow just lifts himself over. That's brilliant. Ultimate life form, don't make me laugh, bros. I think it's about time Shadow goes back to the drawing board and maybe thinks of a better design than just a beta lifter. It was cool in the past few seasons, but it doesn't look like it's showing off it anymore this year. What a shame for Shadow. But, well, I guess Monster is just going to take another 3 points. Somehow. We somehow live in a time where Monster is ahead of Death Roll and Shadow. Let that sink in. I mean, how else do you think Roadblock won Series 1 of Robot Wars? In any cases, on to our next fight, we've got Agraaba with 0 points and Tailgator with 2 points after winning a judge's decision against Death Roll. So in any cases, let's see who wins this. Maybe this could actually be an entertaining fight. 3, 2, 1, active. Let the battle begin. Agraaba landing in a nice hit as Tailgator won a fight by a judge's decision. And Agraaba needs to get points on the leaderboard, but I doubt they're going to do anything with Tailgator, as Tailgator gets underneath of Agraaba. And the pulverizer coming down on the hammer. So far, this is looking so far to be Tailgator's heat to lose, if not Monster. I think because Monster has more points on the leaderboard, but we'll see with Tailgator right now. As Tailgator doing a little shimmy in place. Agraaba maybe trying to go for the weapon belt on Tailgator, much like with Death Roll in Tailgator's previous fight, as it's pushing back Agraaba into the side wall, trying to do something, and they completely miss Tailgator again, as it's trying to come down with the hammer, although being pushed back into the screws goes Agraaba. It's being lifted up. Can Tailgator take the win again? Probably, because I don't think Agraaba can get back or get down from there, but they do because Tailgator's impressive driving. I'm being sarcastic. Anyways, the pulverizer coming down. I don't know who that came down on. I think that was Tailgator, I believe, but nothing came off, surprisingly, so that's good to hear. Anyways, Agraaba being pushed into the screws by Tailgator again, and the hammer is caught on the screws! Agraaba is stuck again on the screws! This is not looking good for the New Blood Tournament champions of last year. Well, I guess stay in last year, Agraaba. This year is not for you. Well, I guess that's something. Tailgator now shoots himself to second place with 5 points ahead of Death Roll. However, Monster still leads in first place. Speaking of which, we have the third placers, Death Roll, and the first placers so far of this heat, Monster. Monster's been on a real roll this year, given their new design has pretty much has 0 effects right now. Of course, it doesn't have a weapon, unlike Death Roll. However, the big problem, it doesn't have any ground games, so let's see if Monster can take advantage of that. Or will Death Roll make up something surprising? 3, 2, 1, activate. Let the bot battle begin. Sorry. Death Roll comes out swinging, and Monster trying to get a hold of Death Roll. Monster so far at the top of the leaderboard with 6 points, and Death Roll with 4, I believe. I kind of forgot immediately. I know Shadow and Agraaba are not winning this year. I'll give you that, ladies and germs. Anyways, Monster trying to immediately go on the onslaught. It's trying to go for a perfect record. I'll be waiting to see that, although Monster is doing a pretty good job at trying to win the whole winning this heat, because so far they have 2 straight knockouts, and they're looking to have another one against Death Roll. Although I'm not too sure. Death Roll is a pretty tough opponent. But as we may know, it's the battle of the Unks. I'm sorry I had to say that. I had to. Anyways, Monster trying to back away as No, not Tailgator. Death Roll gets a nice hit onto the back of Monster. Wasn't really some good control there from Monster, showing its back against Death Roll. And it looks like one of the fingers is somewhat loose. Excuse me. So I guess maybe that says something. As Monster trying to push back Death Roll into the screws. Death Roll almost goes up in the screws, but they managed to avoid it. Monster didn't really take advantage of that. Maybe that wasn't some good control there by Monster to just sit around and do nothing, while Death Roll almost had an easy outing there, as Monster is trying to go back with the hits with that plow, and Death Roll trying to gain some control and aggression points, and maybe damage too, although I don't really think damage will be a priority here because they haven't really done anything to Monster besides just push him and that's it. Like here, for instance, pushing him into the screws. Those screws are coming in handy this year, and especially in this heat as well, as it's captured three victims, I think, because I think it's Agraaba, Shadow, and Death Roll, I believe. But let's see. Monster continues to push Death Roll. Is it going to put into the screws? It's trying, but Death Roll is fighting his way to get out, and he does. And does a nice karma shot to the side of Monster. This is looking out to be pretty good so far, as Monster is trying to get out of the screw area, but I don't really know what's going on, to be fair. If it goes to a judge's decision, this is pretty close, but I think I might say that Death Roll has the advantage because Monster isn't really doing much into the ending hours of this fight as we go to a judge's decision. Ladies and gentlemen, we have entered a judge's decision. We have a split decision. Judge 1 scored the battle for Death Roll. Judge 2 scored the battle for Monster. And Judge 3 scored the battle for the winner, Monster. We're hitting bingo levels that shouldn't even be possible. You're looking at Monster, who hasn't done a whole lot in this entire series. New design, 8 points on the leaderboard, 2 knockouts, and 1 judge's decision win. How is that possible? I don't know. But I mean, hey, it's at least a grand resurgence for Monster. Not compared to these two, however, as in the blue square is Shadow and the red square, Agraaba. They both aren't really doing their best this season, so let's see if they can at least get something out of this dreadful match. 3, 2, 1, activate. Let the bot battle begin. Shadow incoming, coming in hot, and trying to lift Agraaba with their lifter. They do, but Agraaba is right there to get back down. Shadow continues to on the onslaught against Agraaba and completely fails. Well, that's brilliant. This is just like complete control from Robot Chaos. It won Season 5 and just did absolutely nothing in Season 6. It's like this for Shadow. Like, he was good all year long and has just been completely dumped in the garbage. As somehow Agraaba is going to take the win. What? Man, what is happening with Shadow right now? The ultimate life form or like the ultimate lame form? Am I right? I said, am I right? I'll be all here, ladies and gentlemen. Anyways, our next fight, we've got Monster with 8 points and Tailgator with 5 points. Tailgator should definitely get some points on the leaderboard, because so far he's tied with Deathroll, who so far is looking to be the most impressive rookie so far, besides Metal King and some other robots I classified before. Anyways, let's get to the fight. 3, 2, 1... activate. Let the bot battle begin. Tailgator immediately up to speed and immediately takes Monster into the screws. It's lifting him up. Can we get a very fast KO? I don't really think so. The fastest was like 20 seconds, I think. So far, I think it was with Shadow or Toxic Drake that won a fight. Anyways, Tailgator pushing up Monster into the screws, but I don't think it's really going to take a Tailgator with a big charge on Monster, showing that speed is everything in this fight, as Monster, well, it looks like he's going to go downhill fast as Tailgator manages to push up Monster into the screws, and that's going to be it. Tailgator wins his third fight. Wow. Could we see a resurgence from the rookies right now, as last time it was Metal King who did pretty good in getting 11 points. But now let's see if Tailgator could bounce back against Shadow. But before that, we have Deathroll, who's currently has 5 points, the Aussie Crocs, against the so far not doing really good David of Smeg Machine in Agraaba. Yes, they did pick up a win against Shadow, but that's because he just lifted himself for no reason. Bro fell off hard. Anyways, let's get to the fight. 3, 2, 1. Let the bot battle begin. The second to last fight of this heat is Deathroll against Agraaba. Agraaba with 3 points, and Deathroll, I kind of forgot, to be honest. Anyways, Deathroll trying to come in with their disc spinner. It's not really doing much, as Agraaba hammering the top again of Deathroll. But again, it's not really doing anything, and I think Agraaba is just destined to lose, and Deathroll, well, I guess in this, might go on to the third place Desperado tournament, although it depends with Tailgator in his next fight. But at least Deathroll is making a recovery this year, at least with their new design and their new disc spinner. Meanwhile, Agraaba has just been the same slump that nobody really gives a damn about. Anyways, Agraaba trying to skate away. It goes into the screw area. That's not where you want to be if you're just a wandering sight. You're going to have Deathroll circle you and then shunt you into the screws. And Agraaba is trying to get out of the arena. I wouldn't do that if I were you. Do you want points or not? Well, I guess you're probably not going to go on to the tournament anyway, so who is really out here giving a damn? Anyways, Deathroll pushes back Agraaba, trying to do something. Agraaba hammering the top of Deathroll, being pushed back toward, well, nothing really. I guess to the side wall. I thought it was going to the pulverizers. Anyways, Deathroll he's trying to bait Agraaba into going to the screws, and he does so because he knows he can push Agraaba there and have the fight be done. Although, let's see, is Agraaba gonna get through? I don't know. Agraaba is trying to get free. Let's just hope that hammer doesn't get stuck in the screws. Subtle foreshadowing, by the way. Yeah. Oh, wait, never mind. Well, Agraaba's done. Sorry, Deathroll. Well, I guess he's going to go through to the third place bracket, whatever the hell, next fight. Well, all's well that ends well, as Agraaba is done, and we're awaiting the trial for Deathroll and Monster. If Tailgator gets anything above 0, then Tailgator and Monster go to the tournament, and Deathroll goes to the third place bracket. But if Tailgator loses by a knockout, then we'll have a 3-bot rumble, hopefully, depending on if Shadow could actually do his job right and actually score some bloody points. But in any cases, let's get started with our penultimate fight between Shadow and Tailgator. 3, 2, 1, activate.
Let the final battle begin. Can Shadow finally get points on the leaderboard? I doubt. But it's super simple against a robot like Tailgator, but he's a slippery prey that will not stop. As Tailgator is going immediately after the ultimate life form. Should we really call Shadow the ultimate life? Yeah. Should we really call him that? Or should we just call him the ultimate fail? Fail. I think both robots are stuck. I don't know if we're going to have to get out Hans or if Tailgator can get out himself. Tailgator is trying. Hans, can we please get you or something? Oh, never mind. Tailgator is back in as Shadow is being pushed into the side wall, and I guess that's curtains for Shadow this year. I don't think we're probably going to see him again after this year, unless if they bring something that actually is worthwhile to them. Well, Tailgator, they were very impressive this heat. It's unfortunate we have to say goodbye to Shadow. What a win for Tailgator!
And, well, there we go. Shadow and Wggro Aobba are out of the series. If I had a nickel every single time that a robot loses by a KO 4 times and a robot gets 11 points and goes to the tournament, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice. Tailgator gets 11 points going into the bracket, making it the second robot and the second rookie to get the full-ish 11 points. Monster will accompany him with 8 points, and Death Roll sits out in the third place bracket with 8 points as well. Well, that will do for this heat. It definitely happened. I feel like Shadow could have just used their weight to just help them. I think that could have just helped them a lot. Next up for Heat G, we've got Kingslayer, Extinction, Live to Riot, Mecha Bowser, and Macro Burst. So we'll see you till then.